I get sort of maybe what Charles was trying to get at, but when you come at it in that way, in terms of he's not a leader, he's a follower, all that type of bullshit, like we know this man has an agenda against KD and it has had one for a while. So I'm getting to the point where like when Chuck starts to talk about KD, I just tune it out.
Hank McCoy.
One final thing that Charles did say, he did have something to say about Kevin Durant, which affects the Suns directly.
I wanted to be KD, but he's not doing it. To me, it's got to be Booker. He's got to be your mental leader and your vocal leader to a certain degree. No disrespect to Kevin. Kevin's a follower. He's not a leader. He's proven that on all his stops. Booker's a hell of a player also. I think he's going to have to take the initiative and take this Sun team to the next level because, man, Kevin's a hell of a player. I ain't never going to say anything bad about him, but I'm saying the same thing with Boston. One of you guys has to step forward. He has to step forward. And for me, for Phoenix to be successful, it has to be Booker. I don't agree with how he slanders KD and the approach, but I also don't think he's wrong in the fact that he's saying the Suns need somebody to step up into that role. And I think it is probably a little bit more in Devin's character than it's proven to be in KD's. But we've talked about it time and time again. You don't have to be the vocal guy to be a leader. Mm-hmm. And I think we've seen KD lead at times here. Him with Bull on the sideline going over play. We've seen him in different ways. You can be a quiet leader and impact things still, and there can still be a need for a vocal leader there at the same time. So I don't think KD is a follower like Chuck is saying. I think he's a very different leadership style, and you need both kinds in environments to wind up getting where you want to go. That's in any kind of business, basketball, wherever. You need a multitude of leadership styles to get where you
100%, because we saw it with Chris Paul too. Like, not everyone relates to that. Not everybody wants to be led in that way. Sure, you do need that vocal rah-rah locker room type of guy, but you also need the kind of guy who leads by example. You need the guy who can pull you aside one-on-one and have those tough, hard conversations without embarrassing you in front of everybody else or feeling like you're being called out by them. Somebody who you truly feel like is investing in you. Like, Kevin Durant is a leader in his own right. He's just not the leader that Charles Barkley wants him to be. And I don't think that's a fair way to judge him.
No, it's one of those things where there's different types of leadership. And we've been talking, early in the season, we were talking a lot about KD's body language and how we wanted it to improve and all this other stuff. But you look at what he's done since the Suns have got healthy and how their season has turned around. And who does everybody continue to credit for setting the tone defensively and taking on the tough defensive assignments? Kevin Durant, who, if you asked everyone about Kevin Durant's practice habits, do they point to and say, that guy goes hard every single day, every single rep that he does, and it sets the tone for the rest of us. So leadership comes in many different forms. It doesn't have to be a vocal leader. And KD, like you mentioned, is vocal in terms of pulling guys aside and talking to them. He has been pretty vocal on the court in terms of like Nasir Little making a bad turnover and getting on him. And the next play, Nasir Little comes down, hits a three. Those things stay with you, even if they go under the radar. So I get sort of maybe what Charles was trying to get at, but when you come at it in that way, in terms of he's not a leader, he's a follower, all that type of bullshit, like we know this man has an agenda against KD and it has had one for a while. So I'm getting to the point where like when Chuck starts to talk about KD, I just tune it out because he has a clear incentive behind what he's saying. And it's the same thing over and over. Yeah. Like, I don't know how many times I can just sit here and say, well, Chuck said something stupid about KD again. Guess I'm going to ignore it and move on. Like, it's the same shit over and over. So I'm kind of done with listening to Chuck talk about KD unless he says something truly outlandish that I feel I have to respond to, because it just is what it is at this point.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I think it's disrespectful as hell. I think it's ignorant. Listen, if there's a Mount Rushmore for the NBA, I'm putting Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant on it. That's my Mount Rushmore. if you got 2 NBA World Championships, Finals MVPs, League MVPs, I'd be damned if you're gonna call me a follower, man. Like that's not. To me, there's a way he could have said what he was trying to say and not say it that way. Like the choice of words is what bothers me. And Chuck got to look in the mirror because, I mean, he ain't got no damn championships. And he wasn't a great leader. I mean, there was a time where Chuck was spitting in the face of little 8-year-old girls in Philadelphia. I lived that. I was in Philly watching that happen. And that's how the hell he ended up in Phoenix. And so you want to talk about leadership, I mean, you got to look in the mirror, dog. And last but not least, he forced his way out of Phoenix. I mean, he got in front of everybody. He forced his way
out of Philly.
Yeah, and he got in front of everybody when times got tough and said, I want out. I want to be a follower. I want to follow Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, and the boys. So what are we talking about? Like, that kind of bothered me. KD deserves more respect than that. And for you to be saying that, it sounded like he had a couple drinks as well. Like, that's just, nah, you don't do that, man. This is a brotherhood. It's a family of NBA players. The past players have paved the way for the new players, the new generation. And KD has paved the way for the guy that you're saying is the leader. I mean, Devin Booker had a damn Kevin Durant fathead in his room. So, like, stop, man. It bothered me. I thought it was poor taste. And Chuck got to do better than that.